I can't.
Why is it already cold?
The GOAT brought me back, man. We finally have the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer, and I could not be happier. Life is just better when good things are going on with Spider-Man. I need this movie in my life immediately. Not even gonna waste your time, because I just want to get to talking about this. And there might be some potential spoilers because I talk about a leak or two, but when are there not? Before I speak on the trailer itself, I don't know what's going on with the 2026 movie releases, but it's been interesting. I'm looking at you, Doomsday, but your time hasn't come yet. Not to mention a leak that I have totally never seen in my life and do not still have downloaded on my laptop to this day, which was hypothetically a pretty good trailer if I do say so myself. But fan involvement is something I'm always in support of for the most part, so the idea of letting some of the people who love Spider-Man most play a part in releasing one of the most anticipated trailers of all time is simply amazing to me. But brother, the clip method Sony went with was not it. You had one clip being Spider-Man flipping off of a rooftop and another one being a random explosion, which killed me. Not to mention Soups being the reason why a lot of us knew it was coming out when it did, which kills me even more. Aside from that though, releasing the clips at sunrise across the globe, ending it all at the Empire State Building meant something to me, man. As a New Yorker, as a giant Spider-Man fan. And it also reminded me a lot of the First Steps trailer release, which I loved, and I definitely think there should be more events like this in the future. Creative marketing can feel like a lost art at times in the current day, so a revival like this feels good. Now getting to the trailer, it feels like it's been close to coming out for like 5 months now, so actually having it now feels surreal, despite me rewatching it about 12 times. But even with the way it starts, you know immediately that we've got a banger on our hands. Something as simple as Peter Parker suited up and using his phone while sitting upside down feels super refreshing, but also kind of depressing because it feels like the kind of thing we should have been seeing throughout the whole MCU Spider-Man journey. And in that same thought, this also feels like the most we've seen New York in an MCU Spider-Man movie since Homecoming. I know No Way Home was predominantly in New York as well, but it just feels different here. Not to mention strictly in terms of visuals, this movie looks immaculate already. Throughout the Home trilogy, there are only a few shots that stick out in my mind. If we're talking Homecoming, there's Peter holding the ferry together, him sitting on a windowsill during like sunset, him lifting the rubble up, referencing that comic panel. In Far From Home, I really only think about the whole Mysterio sequence, which is probably my favorite part of that movie. And in No Way Home, there's the fair share of moments here and there, but the one that really sticks out to me is always Peter in the rain after Aunt May's death. But in this trailer alone, between the camera movement, color grading, and cinematography, my eyes are going to feel blessed while watching this. You've got the comic cover inspired shots that we knew were coming based off a photo from set around the time of filming. The shot of him barreling over a rooftop is just beautiful, and there's a mix of practicality and good CGI work that should simply be the norm for the MCU. Continuing with the good based on what we see here, the movie feels like it'll be a best of compilation from the Spider-Man before it, including the best parts of the Home trilogy. You've got the Raimi vibes with Peter's solitude, and what seems to be a freakish transformation featuring organic webbing. Amazing Spider-Man vibes, but especially Amazing Spider-Man 2 with the presence of multiple villains and how Tom Spider-Man is moving in general, and the fact that we've been following this iteration of Spider-Man for 10 years now. The new approach that Destin Daniel Cretton and Tom Holland seem to be going with here feels refreshing if I haven't said it already, and like the kind of new beginning I know I've wanted for a little while now. And I'm sure plenty of other people can say the same. In terms of the characters we get to see, we've known about him being in the movie for a long time, but seeing Spider-Man interacting with the Punisher on the big screen is gonna hit so hard. I don't know if me 10 years ago would believe that it's actually happening. Similarly, we've also known about Mark Ruffalo being in the movie for a little bit, which caught me off guard, especially because there's usually just one MCU character that teams up with Spider-Man in these movies. But it's really good to see Bruce Banner again. We haven't seen the guy since She-Hulk, which came out 4 years ago, and I'm so sure they're going to retcon that show or completely sidestep it and act like it never happened. Anyone who's been tuned into the MCU for any length of time knows how rough things with the Hulk have been, and after him not being in Brave New World, I didn't know when we were going to see him again. But I think this movie's actually a really good spot for him to land at. With Peter's mutation or transformation, whatever's going on, who better to help him out than Bruce Banner? It's cool to see him take up that Kurt Connors role as a college professor in Peter's life since we've already seen him twice. But adding Bruce's history in the MCU and the fact that these two haven't really interacted before, makes for a plot thread that I'm really interested to see unfold. There's also the possibility of Savage Hulk returning, which the people have been yearning for, me included. Smart Hulk was cool for 5 minutes maybe, so it's about time. If Peter does end up going all man Spider and Bruce ends up hulking out again, we've got some common ground there. And you can't talk about mutations without arguably the biggest question mark on this whole movie, Sadie Sink. Ever since she got casted, it feels like she's been expected to be 6 different characters. Shathra, one I haven't even heard of until theorizing who she's going to be in this movie. Carly Cooper, a character from the Brand New Day era in the comics. Mayday Parker, when people thought this was going to be a multiverse story. Spider-Gwen. Firestar for a little bit, which I thought could have been cool. But it seems like all signs are pointing to Jean Grey, which is super interesting to me. This movie is the last place I would have expected something like that if it ends up being true. I don't hate the idea though. Some of the hate towards certain aspects of the MCU seems to revolve around the interconnected aspect, which confuses me a lot. Do I think Jean Grey is the main villain of the 4th Spider-Man movie? No. But I think a lot of the anger might be because of that thought, or that she'll end up stealing the shine somehow. For me personally, it reminds me a lot of Iron Man Armored Adventures and how a few non-Iron Man characters popped up from time to time. And coincidentally enough, Jean Grey was one of those characters. She was going by the name Annie, I believe, and she was on the run from Magneto, which is how she ended up at Tony and the Gang's high school in that series. And stuff like that is cool to me. What can I say? Tramell Tillman's character seems to be a higher up with the DODC, and based on Ms. Marvel and Wonder Man, they are the ones who are most concerned with mutants. And with the X-Men on the way, planting seeds for stuff like this is super smart to me. Of course, the execution is the part to worry about, but I try to choose optimism these days. A big part of it likely being Jean Grey is what looks like mind control in the trailer. I think the approach to how it looks is really cool. And could also be a sign of showing how freaky mutants can be in the MCU. It would be interesting if they decide to make Peter a mutant like Kamala or Wonder Man, because he's usually a mutate, but we'll just have to see. Outside of that, the new suit looks incredible and looks better the more I see it. After the first look video that dropped this past summer, I already loved it. The final swingsuit from No Way Home was always great to me, but the small improvements in this one top it for me. This is just a super solid first trailer. Some would say even spectacular. Like, the wait was kind of worth it. As for the bad, there is none. This movie is going to be perfect. I'm kidding, but of course, hate is inevitable, and I'm not blind to that. There were some shots where the CGI was heavy and it looked a little crazy. I was personally able to overlook that because we're still months away from release, but concerns surrounding it are understandable. About a day or two after the trailer dropped, a VFX artist basically said everything shown in that trailer was cooked up from scratch because of that totally not leaked trailer that does not exist, so that explains it a little bit. I've also seen some complaints about not really knowing who the main villain is, but I love that. It's great to see Scorpion again. He's probably working for someone. We've got the Hand mixed in, and then Tarantula, Boomerang Man. That's not his name. Is that his name? But I want to know as little as possible about this movie until I'm in that theater waiting for the previews to end. Aside from that, there's not a lot I can say that upset me or makes me worried about this movie. But I do wish New York, I Love You, But You're Bringing Me Down by LCD Sound System was still in the trailer, because it is the perfect match for what Peter is going through in this movie. I'm planning on making a video similar to my best Batman one from a while ago, where I talk about who I think the best on-screen Spider-Man is. So I'm not going to talk too in-depth about the MCU Spidey journey here, but I will say that I am a pretty big fan of the Home trilogy, which seems like an increasingly unpopular opinion nowadays. I also don't fully despise John Watts either. In all this time of making videos about the MCU, I feel like I'm starting to understand it more from a business franchise standpoint. And while I definitely think there were some things that Watts could have tackled differently, and I'm thankful that he did not do the most recent Fantastic Four, I believe a big part of the Home trilogy turning out the way it did was because of him working with what he got from Feige and the gang. Between the limitations with the Sony deal and working within the boundaries of the MCU, and whatever hangups pop up in making any creative project, I don't want to senselessly dunk on the guy. Because again, I enjoyed these movies, even Far From Home, which as far as the internet goes, I am in the minority for. But in saying all of this, Tom Spider-Man has been through it. Obviously, the most fantastical Spider-Man, having fought Thanos and actually knowing who the Avengers are. But No Way Home was easily the most Peter Parker Tom Holland has felt in his time in the role, so I'm feeling really good about this being the follow-up to that movie. Before this movie entering production, and just between all the whispers that were coming out about it, my biggest hope at the end of the day was this not being another multiverse story, and my wish came true. No Way Home was a huge event, but with that ending, that felt like the highest note possible for us to leave MCU Spider-Man with. And now, based on everything we've seen and heard about Brand New Day, it not only follows up that ending in a way that makes the most sense, but it also shows Tom Holland's Spider-Man finally morphing into what we've wanted for a decade. Going back to the amount of villains in this movie, it seems like there's going to be a montage similar to Fantastic Four that kind of shows us what Peter's been up to for the last 4 years. And with this being the start of a new chapter, I fully welcome a lot being in this movie. I could have sworn that Tom Holland was locked into a new trilogy, but that may not be official yet. However, in the case that it is, I'd like to see this movie kind of drop crumbs for what's ahead. You got some Daredevil connections, and I'm pretty sure Brand New Day takes place after Born Again Season 2, considering we've got a different mayor giving Spidey the key to the city. A lot of people want Daredevil in this movie. I'd be more than fine if he is, but I don't think so. If there is a Spider-Man 5, I would have to assume that that would be their team-up movie. The ideal team-up would be against Kingpin, but again, rights issues are a nightmare, so we'll never know if it's going to happen. But if the Fox deal is something that we experience in this lifetime, there's always a chance. I was always one of those people who didn't want any Ned and MJ in this movie, but seeing the angle that they've taken with it, I'm not mad at them being in Brand New Day either. It's also pretty Raimi-esque to me. In the same way, Peter could never really have MJ and be Spider-Man at the same time. We're seeing now kind of the ghost of his past in these two friends that are still around. Him juggling whether or not he should tell them who he is, that's going to make for some really hard-hitting story beats, I think. And with everything in this movie, it's reminding me of the 90s Spider-Man show, which is probably my favorite Spider-Man cartoon to this day. I don't know if there are any plans to pick up the crumbs of the Sony Spider-Man universe, but there's potentially a symbiote crawling around the city somewhere. There's a chance of Yelena popping up in this movie, so there could be some Thunderbolts New Avengers connections. I know the shot where they're referencing the Amazing Fantasy number 15 cover seems pretty gray, almost void-like, but I think that's more to show the sadness that kind of looms over Peter's Spider-Man activities in this point of his life. I'd be completely fine if this movie didn't connect to Doomsday in any way, but it probably will. This definitely won't be my last time saying it, but 2026 is going to be a great year for movies. It already has been so far, and Brand New Day is going to be a big part of why it continues to be. If Destin Daniel Cretton manages to three-peat, I might have to put him in the MCU all-time great convo. I cannot wait for this movie. The vibes are immaculate so far. The TikTok edits have been going crazy. I've saved like 15 of them. This movie's already generational. I don't know what you want me to say. Tom Holland being as excited as it sounds like he is makes me pretty confident in how this will turn out. I think he has a great understanding of the character. A recent interview he did at the Empire State Building shows that off pretty well. Apparently, this is also the most viewed trailer of all time, beating GTA 6, which is an insane achievement on its own. We might have to change the title The Motion Man after that. And to the people who somehow had Supergirl over this, I think you forgot who Spider-Man is. I'm excited for the movie too, but there's no way you thought it was going to top not only the fourth Spider-Man movie, but the first one in 5 years. Anyway, obviously this is my first video in a while, and while I wish I had some cool, mysterious reason for being gone, I don't. I've been busy because I made the wise decision of doing more school. School! Fuck all this bullshit! I am always working on a video. It kind of keeps me sane. I love doing these. I'm sitting on about 5 or 6 scripts, so the issue is really just finishing them and me being happy with how they turned out and editing them. Unfortunately, I can't promise that uploads are going to be as consistent as they were, at least not for a little while longer, so forgive me for that, but I'm hoping to drop the next video soon. Let me know what you're thinking about Brand New Day, what you want to see, all that good stuff, and as always, have a good one.
You be in Miami with your family, those your brothers, ayy. When we split apart, there's the love between our mothers, ayy. No, we ain't together, but whatever, I still fuck with you, used to get the numbers, selling flights to get them dirty blues.